Is Abraham sacrificing his only son? And then God let them not do it? Moses leading the children of Israel out of Egypt, and making the blood of the lamb on the doorpost, so the angel of death blood of the lamb on the doorpost, so the angel of death that passes over the house. See, but you see how all this fits together. Each is a little part of what this man is. The story: Moses being sold into Egypt, hell; saving his brothers. See, it's like, and of course the New Testament is the best because it puts it all together for you. But for the point is, you see that there's a spiritual legality. Now, let me give you a little story to prepare you what I'm about to say, which is similar. Jesus always speaks to what I'm about to say, which is similar. Jesus always speaks in parables. So this is my little parable. You have a pawnbroker who is legally able to take advantage of everybody in the city and everybody's material things because of the depression, recession. They sold everything and have nothing for nothing. And that's all legal, according to the law. They can't get at their material things, and they're all locked in that pawn shop. One day a man comes along and sells him a stolen article, and the man knows it's stolen. The pawnbroker knows that it's stolen. Stolen. The pawnbroker knows that it's stolen. Right? What happens to his pawn shop if the police find out that he took in one stolen thing that isn't his? They come in and redeem everything from the pawn shop and give it back, everything, to put it up for sale and auctions. Isn't that right? When Jesus is killed, everybody else dies and deserves it, but he dies in our place. The evil kills him because, well, I won't give you the story of it. They kill him because if they allowed him to live, be the story of it. They kill him because if they allowed him to live, they would lose too many of their people, see? And so they were very vexed, and it trapped them into killing him. And when they killed him, they took what it didn't belong to. You got a problem? What? Serious subject, you know. You see, this is a serious subject. And I'm trying to make the point to these ladies and gentlemen here that it is the shedding of that blood that the innocent that causes the bonds of hell to be broken. See, now that is the physical part of it. Now the spiritual part of it is that the human race is in the condition it is in because of doubt. The faith is the connection between heaven, and doubt is the connection. Doubting what you should believe is the connection to hell. He comes along, he's believable. God speaks to him and says, if you believe in him, this is my son, and he's going to do his thing. Excuse me putting it that way. But through him, I'm telling you, if you believe in him, I will reconcile your soul to me. That's the world of the soul. Isn't that beautiful? If that's true, and he pays the price for that, and then the faith is restored. Your mind and spirit is restored through him. It's as simple as that. That's why it is the case. See, so you can go home and read your Bible, and you appreciate it. Now your eyes will be opened, and when you read it, you'll be able to understand what's in it. And you don't need me anymore. Although you can have a nice organization to help other people. You might want to help other people. You might want to help other people. Or you can choose not to. You help people in your own way.
Helping you was talking about. What do you do about that as well? When you find God, you feel like you need to do something. Even with that, I agree with that. But at the end, there's always nothing more worth than doing for God, really, is there?
Well, then maybe you guys can work together and, help this organization.
So don't look for it. Just act when you see it.
You'll know what to do. You just be patient. It takes to settle into you. So it's natural. See what I mean? You don't want to take on too much. Because you don't want to run around saying, no God and all the rest of it. You don't want to be like those other people who run around like a bunch of idiots. Because they just got converted and they don't know their butt from their elbow, right? You just got converted and they don't know their butt from their elbow, right? Just give it time. Give it time. It'll move you, and you won't even know you're being moved. There's no will involved.
Whether he's black, sorry.
It doesn't make a
Black or white.
They're both
That's so scared.
See, look at me. I'm a little brown. I get brown in the sun.
That's the problem, really, is it? No,
I'm Semitic.
Shouldn't be a problem. No.
Yeah. That solves the problem. He's in
That's
between.
right. Yes.
He's half and half.
Yeah, that's right.
Doesn't matter what he is, does it?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Because the scripture says in him there is no Jew or Gentile or Greek or black or white or green or pink. See? We have people of all races and colors and creeds here. And it's the sweetest thing to be able to communicate with each other. See, we could have, can you imagine if we had a nation with the sweetness, can you imagine if we had a nation with the sweetness that's in this room? You see? And you're just fledglings yet, but the Spirit's there, don't you see? That sweetness is there. And that's just got to be given a chance to grow a little bit. It's real, without hypocrisy. And then if it were ever threatened by some outside, hostile nation, we'd stand up. And do you know why Hitler hesitated to attack England? The real reason is, no one will tell you the real reason. The real reason is, no one will tell you the real reason is because he was afraid of the English. Why was he afraid of the English? Because England used to be a very noble nation. As noble as their fallen nature will admit. You see, allow. But they were something terrified. Why? I know what it is. I'm not scary. I'm just a cuddly little bear. But there's something about me that scares the living tar out of people. People don't like to mess with me. They'll gang up with me. The newspapers may have a go at me, but they can't. They don't know how to deal with it. It's in me because they recognize the force that's there that should not be allowed to live. See, and I've had that problem in the United States with the press holding my family up to ridicule, but we beat them on that local level. We got them running scared now. Own my own station. We got them running scared now. Own my own station. Got a network. They haven't said a bad word about me in 2 years. Because a few weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, I forget when, I said, now, Mr. Editor, Mr. Dennis Roller I said, you owe me an apology. You owe my family an apology. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to come on this radio and bring proof that all the things you say about me are true. On this radio program, bring it. I'll sit by and let you do it. Or apologize. Now, so I'll let you out on one condition. I'll give you 3 rounds in the gym. You're younger than me. You should beat my butt. But I'll give you 3 rounds in the gym, and you ain't got the courage to do that. Because I'll knock you flat on your butt too. See? Because you haven't got the courage. So I went in training. See? Because you haven't got the courage. So I went in training. I win either way, even if he beats me. He's a 40-year-old guy beating a 66-year-old guy. He's a bully. That's what I said to a guy in the army. Up to me, he says, he said, you're a Jew. I said, so what? He says, you're a dirty Jew, so okay, clean me up. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to beat you. He said, oh, how are you going to beat me? I said, because if you beat me up, you're a bully. I said, because if you beat me up, you're a bully. That wouldn't be clever. But if I beat you up, you're going to look stupid. And while he was thinking of it, I socked him. He never got up. I always stood up for myself as a kid. As a young man, always stood up. Let's see now. Okay. Yes, Gov.
I've been a wimp basically all my life, but what I need to do is talk to you about my immediate problem. Is like, for instance, I was in here on Saturday, and after going home, I realised the chaos I'm creating around my family.
How so?
Well,
As
because
if I didn't know.
around my family.
How so?
Well,
As
because
if I didn't know.
well, it's the female spirit. I'm just like my mother. I have that chaotic energy. And
Like that lady were here yesterday? Were you here?
Oh no, I'm afraid I can't come. Yesterday I couldn't come because my wife was here.
Oh, you missed a very interesting whirlpool
Yeah.
lady.
Right. Well, I can know where she was coming from because I have the same sort of female spirit, and I just
Nothing simple. In other words, you make simple things complicated, and it's a big whirlpool.
It's a bit more involved. I just seem to resent just about everything. The most important people in my life, I resent them. I've
Why?
tried to turn my wife into my mother, resent them.
Why?
Tried to turn my wife into my mother, if you like. And she's a very good spirit, and she's turned it all back onto me. And I'm
Good for her.
Oh yeah, she's Kim Masters. You.
Oh, that's Kim Masters.
Yeah, and I've been her reason for getting very well because she's had to resent me so much that she's now
You haven't
forgiven.
lived as if I know.
Well, we've been very close, and I've always been separated. We've always been
That's
separated.
a pity.
Well, it's because I'm a slime in the grass, and I can't break the resentment problem. Like on Saturday, you told me I had a huge, great ego, and
Well, I don't know what to do.
well,
I don't know what to do. Because that's your sex problem too. Isn't
yeah,
it?
absolutely.
See that you got. Remember how I say sex and the sin of anger expresses itself in men as sexuality.
Right.
Men express violence sexually.
Yeah.
Inner violence becomes a sexual thing. And then they hate their husbands and feel guilty, and they either run from their husbands or they feel so guilty like they hate their husbands and become sexual and they have the same sexual expression when they're angry. So you have two violent people having sex with each other, loving the hate in each other. If you love somebody's hate, they hate you more. I'm a woman, I love you. If you're a violent person and you force me to have a relationship with you, or I feel guilty not to and I do, that becomes like love. It isn't really love, but it passes for love for the ego, and then you become more violent. So that more sex you have, the more violent you become, and the more angry you are. You don't even know why you're angry, but you have to be more angry you are. You don't even know why you're angry, but you have to be angry because the only way you can have the sexual feeling is to be angry. Did I tell you the story of a man who came to me one day and he drove all the way up from Los Angeles to Oregon with his Mercedes, and he says, I got this terrible problem with my wife. He said, I'm a sexual animal. He says, I'm destroying her. Literally destroying her. And I know what I'm doing, but I can't stop it. I said, you're homosexual. That's what's wrong with you. And he just almost fell on his floor. He says, well, how can I be a homosexual if I have problems with sex with women? I said, do you hate your father? And do you hate your father? And he stopped for a moment. He said, yes, I do. Well, did you ever remember feeling a sexual feeling for your father? Sex produces a sexual feeling to the object of the hate. And he didn't want to face that. So what he did, he learned that sexual feelings from his father to women. As long as he stays angry with women, he has sexual feeling, and he's focused away from the sexual feeling for his father. He's afraid to become he was afraid. See how that works? Isn't it amazing how the mind understands how to deal with its problems and always in the wrong way? Have a sexual feeling?
The problem I have is I have no feelings for my parents at all. I just have no connection. I haven't seen my dad for about 10 years. And
Well, but you must have, because
it's
the wimp that you are, whatever you are, it's come from your wrong relationship with your parents. I think you need to examine that.
I've been
I think you need to examine that.
I've been looking at that. You've told me that I have the biggest problem.
Okay,
with
what kind of father did you have?
Oh, he was never at home. He was a sexual maniac, and he was
And are you a sexual maniac?
absolutely.
Then how did you get to be like your father? You didn't love him, did you? For not being there? You knew what he was, don't you? You knew he was a
Well,
two-time.
absolutely, there was no way to hide it.
I know, but you must have remembered resenting him for it. I think you better look at it.
How do I get in touch with that?
I don't know. I'm just bringing up the possibility for you to say, because you can't have no feelings for your, unless you've distracted yourself from the feelings you do have, like the man with the homosexual. He didn't have a feeling for his father. He never thought about his father. He didn't want to think about his father, because if he thought about his father, he'd realize he'd had a sexual feeling for his father, or he had a sexual feeling for men, which are all sexual feeling for men, which are all men are fathers like that. So he'd rather not look at it. So he didn't look at that area of his life. He just focused on women, hating them and loving them through the hate. See? And of course that created additional guilt. There's something wrong with that. The feeling he had for his father. There's just as much shame, but how does he deal with shame? He intensifies his hate so he can have the sexual feeling and lust. And escape into the pleasure of the lust, which only created greater conflict. It never solved the problem, but at least it's like an answer. It's like an answer. It's the only answer his fallen nature can manufacture. We do manufacture our own answers, you see. What a beautiful life you could have, because pretty soon you're going to look like the picture of Dorian Gray. If you're not careful. Bumps all over your face. You probably get a dose of the clap, and that'll be the end of you. And nobody will miss you, just like your father. What are you laughing about? Why don't you meditating?
I've been doing it on and off for a long time.
But you don't want to be doing it on and off. You need to be doing it.
Yeah. Well, I get hypnotized by the world so easy that I gravitate away from it. I start off with the sincerity, and then it slips.
What can I say? You only have so much time in the world to get your act together. You don't want to waste any more time, because that's dragging you down, isn't it? You could have a nice son. You could have a nice wife. Pretty little thing too. If you weren't so psychically hungry like a vampire. Trouble is, as you suck on, you get sucked on. Isn't that right? It's like the government, whatever you get a woman to give you what you want, and she'll get a woman to give you what you want, and she takes everything you have to give it to you. You're a slave of it. You can't. The longer you go, the deeper the conditioning gets, the harder it is to break free. But the truth will make you free. But I don't see any movement of the heart, of the spirit.
You told me about 5 years ago that my heart was stone. I should go out and find somebody to forgive. Well, I never did find anybody to give.
Because you don't know you hate anybody, do you?
Well, I know I'm a hate monster because it's reflected in everything in everything I do.
But you don't know, who do you hate?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who do you hate? Because you're too busy looking for who you can lust. See? You stay ahead of the truth of hating, because it's translated. Your kind of love, it comes out of hate. See, I've told my wife lots of time, you don't love anything, you're a selfish person. Why do I say it? But she isn't a selfish person. She follows me around. She makes my bed. She washes my clothes. She cooks the dinner and does all. She takes care of business and all the rest of it. Then why would I not say that dutifulness is not love? I know her. I know there's two kinds of love, and I feel the difference. One love comes out of hate. One love comes out of love. You have a love that comes out of hate, and that's lust. And you get through that lust, you get your reinforcement for the hate self. The hate self. In other words, you lose the reality of you're a very hateful person, very hateful, but it all translates into sensual needs and lusts and loves, and you submerge yourself in a source of that love that rewards you for that. some little floozy or some little poor, a woman who doesn't know which way is up, pardon the expression, and you just take advantage of those lost women.
No, I have the problem with fetishes.
Which such as? What's a fetish?
I'd rather not get personal, but it's material things, not people, but more like material things.
Such as?
I would rather not say.
Why not?
Because there's too many people here.
That's right. Let's see what it's good to get it out. See, you hide it. See, we all have a little charge with it. See how you protect it?
Well, I've talked to you about it on the radio before, you see.
Yeah,
and
I don't remember it now.
No, but the whole of California heard it at the time, but right now, because of my wife's, the way she's dealing with the FHU, I'd rather that it was kept personal. Personal.
I don't know, it'd be a good idea if you just say, listen, I do this thing, these awful things, and just feel the embarrassment, everybody will go. And you'll feel the pain, and that's what the pain you need to feel. You protect that pain. You see? She knows it already, probably. Well, anyway, it's up to you, there's no pressure. Okay, let me have my little juice here, my... Wow. Do you have any problems with dressing? Yeah, good. Good, I'm glad. Here they go. By the way, I finished. You finished.
That's it. When my brother was 10, I dressed him up in a beautiful yellow dress, and he looked pretty. He really looked handsome, but he's never dressed up himself, and I never done it again.
Well, thank goodness.
He's never dressed up himself, and I never done it again.
Well, thank goodness.
The second time they done it, they put a girl's clothes on me. This is in 1953, right? So I took the bloody thing off, turned it inside out, and then undone all the buttons, yeah? Just to be defiant.
Well, what I'm looking at...
10.
But what I'm looking for now, you'll notice if we're not careful, we'll degenerate into the trivia. We've got to be careful. I'm looking for people want to open and say something. All right? Old Delicious over there wants to say something. Yeah, well, maybe you're not so delicious, but it's all right. You can. I just call you Delicious. That's how I remember your name.
In the past, I've noticed that every time I thought of my brother, the one that beat me up, I'd see... no, sorry, I've got it the wrong way. Every time I thought of Christ in my mind, I'd see Christ dressed up as my brother in my head. And I always wondered what it was about. I didn't quite understand. It used to keep coming in my mind. And I think gradually, slowly, I recognized that it was the Antichrist in my head. He'd taken over the authority of Christ in me and placed himself there in my head.
Interesting, very interesting.
And the look on his face would be really dull. His eyes would be really dark, and he'd have things in his face dug in, and this crown, the way I've seen in films. And like I said, I didn't know where that was coming from, but I can see clearly now that's where it's been coming from. It's that spirit.
In your brother?
Yes.
Inside you?
Is inside me. And I think I've been very badly deceived for a long time. I didn't quite see that. I haven't quite seen in the past how damaged I really am. I didn't realize how hurt I really was by all this, from what he did to me. And I apologize for laughing earlier.
Is that
whilst
what
he
you're
was-
laughing? Is that what you're laughing about?
I don't quite know. I wasn't quite listening. I was just laughing. And I think it's a nervous laugh. Richard has mentioned it quite a few times to me, because Louise also does that. And I think that Louise also has a similar problem to myself.
Is there like a mocking laugh?
I think so, because when he used to beat me up,
You used to laugh like that?
I used to laugh because I didn't want him to see that he
You were
hurt
being
me.
hurt. You didn't want to let him know you were hurt. I
Because he
understand.
was so pathetic, you know. He was just the things that he beat me up for were really ridiculous.
When are you gonna let him go? When are you gonna let him be unimportant now? And forgive
See,
his
I
debt?
believe that I do watch this in myself during the day, and it seems to be okay. I can sort of detach myself from it, but it's at night that's the problem. The nights are really bad.
Have you talked to your brother lately?
No, I can't. He doesn't want to know.
What?
I've tried to speak to him in the past, quite a few times, but he hasn't wanted to.
Do you?
He's
are you-
wanted to hold on to his resentment towards me.
Do you go around your family?
No,
You have no family, basically.
no, I don't really.
Yeah.
But all I know is that the nights are really bad. I have
what happens
nightmares
at
of
night?
people. Like if there was the recent incident whereas at work there was a girl called Vicky, who she's quite a domineering person. She's only 18. When I first saw her, I felt scared of her, and I
She had
expressed
that
this
same
to-
spirit.
She had the same mean, wicked spirit in her. And I only built up the courage, I think, a couple of days ago, where I spoke up to her about something to do with work towards me. And I remember shaking a little.
But how have you reacted inside?
Yes.
Have you resented her? No, because these are even though
I think there was a part of me resenting.
now you see there is, if you're on the path, you will use those moments to separate yourself from that offering, that tease offering. That's what it is. It's a tease offering for your judgment. See, and it's actually you have a judgment against all men, because I'm sure your father never protected you from
No,
this.
he didn't.
So
No,
yes.
he didn't.
So you have a real hate towards all men, and you, young man, had to be very, very careful that this delicious creature here is not as nice as you think she is, and she's going to get her revenge on you if you're not careful, and she can't help herself, because only a matter of time when you see the transformation take place. And I don't think you're strong enough. You may or may not be strong enough. You seem like you're getting better these days, the last couple of days, but you have a typical hatred of men. And
It's in my bones. It's in my bones. I think I'm made from this.
Pardon?
I think I'm made from this
You are made of it. You are.
this violence.
And you
this
see,
rage.
if you're made of it, you're going to have to bring the cruelty out of someone to keep feeding it, because you're made of that experience, and you are unconsciously, even though everything seems to be nice between you two, you're going to have to set him up to bring out that side of him that you kind of suspect is there. Unconsciously, it's very unconscious. It's deeper than unconscious.
How it's manifested is that I want to run away. Because I ran away from home. I tried,
But
and that's what I want to do with Mark. I want to, when I feel this, I just want to run.
Well, that's why you marry and are not married. See? That's why the game is being played where you think you're married because you haven't got that piece of paper.
Right.
See? But that leaves it free so that you can run.
Yes, I think that. Yes, I think that's the game
See?
that's been played
So
here
it's
by
not
myself.
him, it's you.
Yes.
See? He's setting him up to fail automatically.
Mm. But I don't want to be like
Because he
this.
may want to be married, and he may, let's say you have a kid, and he may want to have a kid, and all of a sudden, but you're driven by that fear. And he feels the instability of it. And he feels the indignity of it, and then you start to fight, and he becomes violent. See? And that's what'll happen. Your nature is built out of men that will fail you. Men that will be violent, men that will run away from you. You know, although you will run away from the violence. And you're built out of that. You're built out of being disappointed with men. And you unconsciously will create that in your relationship in order to defeat it.
I'm not going to come down to that.
You
I know what's going on.
You already did. You already started.
The violence.
Well, but you already started to. That the journey has already begun.
Mm.
But that doesn't mean to say it has to.
Yeah.
That you can't change it.
Yeah.
See.
Okay.
I'm glad to hear you say it, because that will be her. If you got married properly, and that would break one spell, because there's something honorable in her. She'll stay with it. There's something honorable in my wife, otherwise she'd run away a long time ago. The fact that she stays is a little bit of a substitute for the faith she didn't have. You know, the stay with itness. You know, the kind of knowing something good is there, and good is there, and then one day it becomes something. You stay with it, it becomes faith. Eventually you see the good in it. The good in you that stays with it, it stays there because you see some good you can't quite understand, but you like it. It isn't faith yet. You kind of like what you eat. Some of you may hang around the foundation. Some of you may hang around now and want to be part of the foundation and help. Not that you have any faith, but you kind of like what you see. Now, that's the beginning, isn't it? That's the beginning. You stay with it. I know some people have been around me for like 8 or 9 years and didn't know what it was, but they liked what they saw. And slowly but surely, if you stay around what you saw, if it's good, it starts to dawn on you, doesn't it? It does. And it becomes the faith that, do you realize you've been here 3 hours? A lot of you haven't moved. It's a good thing those seats don't have a grill shape to them. See you at 2? Don't eat too much because it dulls your brain.
For more information, please write to FHU 27 Old Gloucester Street, London, WC1N 3XX, or FHU United Kingdom at AOL.com.